right, so some people had questions about installing a virtual machine on your home computer. You can do this on your machine at home, or you can use one of the computers here at the community college. This will not work on a Chromebook though. But anyways, all right, so just going to talk a little bit about how this thing's going to work. So we're going to need a couple things. Number one, we're going to need to install Oracle's VirtualBox if we haven't done it already. Then the other thing, and the reason why we use VirtualBox is just because we used to use VMware. You could also use Hyper-V if you wanted to. But VirtualBox is kind of like our standard thing that we use here at the school, and so we try to keep that consistent through all of our classes. So like if you take some networking classes besides this one, then you'll probably wind up using Oracle VirtualBox again, and for sure you'll use it in some of your other computer classes. All right, so Oracle VirtualBox, we're going to download that thing, and let's see. I've already got it downloaded and installed on this computer, but what you can do is just type in Oracle. Okay, and here's the site, Oracle VirtualBox. Okay, so you're going to go and you're going to find the correct download. Okay, so we're going to download this thing. VirtualBox 7.1.4 for Windows hosts. Now, if you're using Mac OS or Linux, then you'll use one of these. But for our purposes, most of our computers are Windows. So, okay, so we're going to download this thing. Okay, okay, download complete. Then you're going to double click that and install it. Now, if you have an issue where it says it needs the C++ redistributable in order to be able to install, then we'll need to do something slightly different. Let's see. Go. Okay, Microsoft. Whoops. C++ redistributable. Okay, and if you go to, I think this is the right place, learn.microsoft.com, and if you look down here, like right close to the top is going to be this Visual Studio stuff and latest Microsoft Visual C++. If you're running 32-bit Windows, then you'll use this file here. If you're running 64-bit Windows, then you'll use this file here. Download that and install it, and hopefully it's going to run much better. Okay, so all right, so now we've downloaded and installed our VirtualBox, and we've also downloaded and installed Windows C++ if we had to. Now the other thing we're going to need is a Windows ISO file. Now if you're here on campus, then you can go to the student directory and you can look in, there's a subdirectory called ISOs, I-S-O-S, and the Windows 10 ISO file is in there. If you're doing this from home, you're going to need to download and go ahead and we're just going to use Windows 10 for this. You could use Windows 11. Like this computer that I'm using right now is a pretty new one. It's only about a year old, maybe not even that. So this is a new computer, so I could install the Windows 11 machine on this and it would run just fine. However, if you're using an older computer, Windows 11 may not run. So play it safe and just use Windows 10. And I know Windows 10 is going away. I think in October is when they say that they're going to stop supporting Windows 10. So if you haven't already installed or got a machine that will run Windows 11, you might want to think about upgrading sometime soon. Okay, so what we've got to do, I'm going to open up another window. and we're going to go see if we can't find Windows 10 ISO file. So what I want to do is look for Microsoft Windows 10 installation. All right, so Microsoft support has been kind enough to hook us up with Windows 10 installation stuff. And so what we're going to do is, okay, so we're not going to be actually installing. We're just going to be downloading the ISO. So let's go ahead and click on this. Download. All right, now create Windows 10 installation media. We're going to go ahead and do that, right? But except for, okay, we're going to go ahead and download the media creation tool. Okay, download complete. Now we'll run it. Yeah, sure, why not? I accept your terms. Okay, so I don't want to upgrade my PC. I do want to create installation media. Okay, so I'm going to click on next. Okay, language, Windows 10, 64-bit. This is all good. Now then, okay, I don't want to make a bootable USB flash drive. Sometimes that's the way we want to go, but not today. We want an ISO file. So what we're going to do is we're going to just click on next. Okay, now where do we want to put this thing? I'm just going to put it in my downloads directory. And file name is going to be Windows. I'm just going to make it Windows 10. And now we're going to click on Save. Okay, now I'm going to pause the video and we'll be back momentarily. It took a minute, but now I've got the ISO file downloaded. Okay, so it's just sitting in my downloads directory. Now, you could go ahead and burn this thing to a DVD if you wanted to, but you don't have to. You can just leave it on your hard drive for the time being. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and finish. Okay, now we should have everything that we need to commence this little operation. So let's go ahead and minimize that. All right, now over here to the side, I've got this Oracle VirtualBox icon that I'm just going to double click on. And eventually, okay, here it goes. All right, mine is kind of a mess because I've been doing a bunch of experimentation with some different virtual machines. But what we're going to do right now, I'm going to click on Machine. I'm going to click on New. Okay, this is going to be a new machine. I'm going to call it JL's Windows 10. Okay, folder, I'm just going to leave VirtualBox VMs because that's what I always use. The ISO image is the one we just downloaded, so I'm going to go searching for it, and it is in the downloads directory, and it is Windows 10. Okay, going to open it. Now, you want to do this. See this little box right here where it says skip unattended installation? We're going to go ahead and check that. Next. All right, now, base memory. I've got 32 gigabytes on this machine. 4 megabytes is the minimum. I would recommend using like 9 gigabytes. 8. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to use about 9 gigabytes. Processors. Well, I've got processors to spare. This machine is fairly strong. You want to use at least 2. I'm going to use 4 just because I can. Okay, now this is important. See right here where it says virtual hard disk size? For Windows, 50 gigabytes I don't think is enough. I think you're going to need like 100. I'm just going to make mine 124, 125-ish. Okay, ooh, pre-allocate full size. No, I better not. And I've got 2 terabytes on this particular machine, so I don't know if you've got that much space to spare or not. But I think 100 gigabytes is plenty. All right, so I'm just going to take all this stuff here, and I'm going to click on Finish. Okay, JL's Windows 10 machine is powered off. I'm going to power it on. I'm going to click on Start. Now remember, what we did was we downloaded the installation files for Windows 10. We didn't download an operational Windows 10 machine. Sometimes when you're doing these virtual computers, what you're going to do is download something like an OVA file, which is going to be like a pre-loaded, pre-made machine, a Linux box or something like that, that you don't have to go through the installation routine. You can just crank it up and run it. This is a little bit different. What we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go through the whole entire Windows 10 installation, and then we're going to have a Windows 10 machine that we can bring up and start anytime we want to, and we can experiment with it. And the good thing about having a VirtualBox running on your computer is you can play around with this virtual machine, and you can do things like, for example, you might at some point in time infect your virtual machine with a virus and then clean it up. Or you can run some hacking utilities on your virtual machine, and you don't have to worry about actually breaking your operating system and having to actually go through the hassle of reinstalling it. You can just play around with the virtual machine, and if you damage it, it's no big deal. You can just delete it and then restart it or rebuild it if you have to. Okay, now activate Windows. Well, I don't have a product key, but that's okay. Now, the one we're going to use, because we're an educational outfit, we're going to use Windows 10 Education. See the ones here that have an N on the end of them? Those are for you. I mean, you can use those if you want to, but that little N, I can't remember what it stands for. But this means that this version, like if we were to install this, that is legal to use in the European Union. So that's what that is for. But since we're in the Estados Unidos, we'll just use plain old Windows 10 Education. And I accept those terms. Okay, I don't want to upgrade. I'm doing a fresh installation. And I've got 125 gigabytes roughly of unallocated space. Okay, now if you make a mistake and you get to this point and it starts trying to install Windows, and then it comes back and it says you don't have enough memory or you don't have enough disk space, then you can just stop this, and then you can start all over again. Just start over again with a new machine, and then next time you do it, just make sure you've got enough space allocated. Because I have seen, and actually that happened to me in a class maybe last semester. I was installing a machine, and I was just taking the defaults, and it got like halfway through the installation procedure and it crapped out. And I was like, what the heck? And so I went back and then I looked, and I was like, oh, I was just clicking through, taking the defaults for everything, not paying attention to was it enough space. So, live and learn. Like I said, these are virtual machines, so you can just tear them down and rebuild them as much as you want to. Alright, so I'm not going to make you guys watch me go through the whole Windows setup routine. Y'all have probably done all this before, and like I said, if you get into your setup and you start having problems, you can always just start all over again. Okay, so that's about 15 minutes worth of video. So I guess if you guys have any questions or anything, hit me up with an email message, and otherwise I will be talking to you later. Oh yeah, press any key to boot from a DVD drive. Just don't press any key. Leave the keyboard alone, and then you will boot up into your new copy of Windows that you've just installed.